Hello, YNABers. My name is Jesse Meekum, and this is podcast number 21 for You Need a Budget, where we teach you 4 rules to help you stop living paycheck to paycheck, get out of debt, and save more money. Today, I want to talk about your budget boiling point. I'm not a chemist. By the time we got to the topic of moles in my junior year of high school in chemistry, I had no idea what we were talking about. I didn't get it. They started talking about moles. I was thinking about the small animal that causes problems with crops. And from that point on, it was basically downhill for me with chemistry. However, I do remember talking about boiling points and different elements having different points at which they boil. The one element with which I am most familiar is water. So we're going to talk about the boiling point of water. What's interesting about it is you can sit there at 200-something degrees, 205, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 degrees, and the water doesn't boil, and it won't boil forever. No matter how long you sit it at 210 degrees or 211, I know I'm going to have some chemist that's going to write me an email with some kind of an exception to this rule, but we're just going to run with this, okay? So you boil it at 210, or you heat it up to 210 degrees, and it will not boil. 211, it will not boil. But once you hit 212, it boils. And you start, sending off steam and lose your water, and it doesn't last that long. But isn't it amazing that at 210 or 209, where things are very hot and you wouldn't want to obviously put your hand in there, there's definitely a lot of heat going on. All those molecules bouncing back and forth will certainly burn you. It will last for a long, long, long time and be extremely hot, but never boil. And I was thinking about that this morning. I was working out, and I don't know how we got on the subject of boiling points, but my workout partner was saying, well, yeah, you can take it all the way up to 211 and it won't boil, and then you go to 212 and suddenly you're boiling. Was that right? Is 212 the boiling point? Let me just double check that really quick. Fahrenheit, yeah, 100 degrees Celsius, of course. 212, I was right. Okay, thank you, Wikipedia. It's been a long time. Anyway, the same goes with budgeting, where you can go to an extreme with your budget, ratchet down to an extreme, and you just have to be comfortable with the fact that what you're doing is not going to last for the long term. I'm okay with short sprints of craziness that will move the dial, move the average behavior the direction you'd like. So I'm okay if you go all out for a short period of time, as long as you're comfortable with the fact that it's going to be a short period of time. It is not for the long haul. So with your budget, you start, giving every dollar a job, following Rule 1, saving up for your rainy day expenses, car insurance, Christmas, all things like that. And you start giving every single dollar this purpose, and it's zero-based, which means you take it right to the edge. And you can be pretty fanatical about it. You can start to say, well, we're going to save X percent of money without exception. We're going to do this without exception. We're not going to spend more than X without exception. And that's where you can start to get to a boiling point with your budget. So what I would suggest, if you're in it for the long haul, I would suggest that you just ratchet it down a degree or 2. And suddenly you find that you can last a really long time where things are still hot and you're still moving along and still paying off debt and being aggressive, and you're seen as crazy by most outsiders, but you're sticking to it for the long haul. It's doable. And it doesn't take a lot to give yourself breathing room. We talked about this. We talked a while back about the bench press analogy where I got stuck and I just needed a little bit of help, just a little push. Just even from that secretary that lifted the bar off. I mean, she couldn't lift all that weight or even close to all that weight, but just the extra tiny little bit of lifting that she did enabled me to have some breathing room and get the weight off my chest. And it's the same with this boiling water. And I always think back to the story, and I hope I haven't told this already in the podcast. Things are starting to kind of run together. But I'm always thinking about the story of when Julie and I first started. And we were pretty gung-ho, and we knew that things were going to be tight for a long period of time, 3 or 4 years. Well, I got my master's degree, and we wanted her to be able to stay home and Ray's Porter when he came. Anyway, things were tight, but this was even before Porter came, before we were even, knowing he was on his way or anything like that. So things were still tight. We didn't have a car at the time. We didn't have a computer. Anyway, there's lots of stuff that was stressing us out and causing us, though, to want to really maximize every dollar and squeeze our budget for everything it was worth. And that's exactly what we were doing. And that's exactly what made me go crazy in about 2 weeks. I remember distinctly walking by this little bakery in the student center where they have these old-fashioned donuts that you put in the microwave for about 5 seconds, and they're just delicious. And I remember walking by on my way to class in the morning and seeing that donut, and it was 50 cents, and thinking, I can't buy that donut. And the next day walking by and thinking, I can't buy that donut. Not that I'd want to buy one. I probably would want to buy one every day. I wouldn't buy one every day for caloric reasons, not for financial reasons. But I just remember feeling so restrained from that. It was just suffocating. And I came to Julie and told her that I felt like the budget was suffocating us and we'd hit a boiling point, so to speak. And she said, well, we need to do fun money. And that was where the fun money came about. And we did $5 per person per month. And that was all we needed. Literally 1 degree change. But suddenly we've been doing it now for 9 years and haven't stopped. And I think that's a key principle. Just give yourself a little bit of breathing room. And suddenly you'll be able to do it for the long haul. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know what psychological fancy term there is that I'm not saying that applies. But it works, and it works very, very well. So think about that as you analyze your budget going forward, and maybe ratchet back a degree to make sure you stick to it. Until next time, follow YNAB's 4 rules, and you will win financially. You have not budgeted like this.